Hey everyone, welcome to Python Code Nemesis. Today we'll be looking at dependency injection, container configuration in YAML. So let's get started. Using a YAML or Python configuration file depends on your specific use case and requirements. Here are some points that you should consider before you make a choice. Simplicity and readability. YAML is often considered more human-readable and easier to understand than Python code, especially for non-programmers. If you want to create a configuration file that others can easily understand and modify, YAML may be a better choice. Flexibility and complexity. Python code provides more flexibility and allows you to create more complex config files with conditional statements, loops, and functions. Python may be a better choice if you need to create a config file with advanced logic. Security. YAML files can be a security risk if not properly sanitized, as they can contain arbitrary code execution. On the other hand, Python code can also be a security risk if it's not properly secured and validated, as it can potentially execute arbitrary code. You should carefully sanitize and validate any config file that you use, regardless of the format. Integration with other systems. Depending on other systems you're working with, one format may be more compatible. For example, if you're working with a system that expects YAML config files, it may be easier to use YAML. If your config file is simple and doesn't require advanced logic, YAML may be the easier and more readable choice. However, Python code may be more suitable if you need to create complex config files or require advanced logic. Python code creates a YAML config file. Let's say we want to initialize a set of books with fields name, description, number of pages, and genre. Let's take this example YAML config file with a few entries, name, description, pages, and genre for each book. In this YAML file, we have a book section which contains a list of 3 book configs. Each book config has a name, description, pages, and genre field, which matches the fields we use in the Python code. You can modify this YAML to add, remove, or modify books. Create a new Python file and insert the following code. Create a list of books with open config.yaml in read mode as x. Config equal to yaml.saveload f. We import YAML first. For book config in config of books, name equal to book config of name, description equal to book config of description, pages equal to book config of pages, genre equal to book config of genre. Then you create the book object or dictionary and then append it to your books list. Using the dependency injector to load configuration. Let's say you have a YAML and want to use the dependency injection Python library to load the YAML and initialize variables with it. To load the YAML file and initialize variables using the dependency injection Python library, you can use the YAML library in combination with the dependency injection library. Here's an example YAML for books, name, description, and a bunch of authors and pages. To load and parse this YAML file, you can use the PyYAML library. Here's how you can do it. Import YAML with open books.yaml in read mode as f, book underscore data equal to yaml.saveload f. Print books data. This will load the data from the YAML file into a Python object. The output will look like this. Next, you can use the dependency injection library to create instances of a book class with the data from the YAML file. Here's an example implementation. So from dependency injector, you import containers and providers. Containers are the one that contain the dependency, and providers are the one where we can create objects of these providers, which will give us instances of the class that we containerized. So class book, clips init with name, description, authors, and pages. Class book container, which inherits from containers to a declarative container. Config is config is providers dot configuration. Book provider equal to providers.factory, or was factory again, creates a new instance every time you call it. So book provider equal to factory, book name equal to config.books. Then config.books have 0 of description, config.books of 0 of authors, and config.book of 0 of pages. So in the main function, with open books.yaml in read mode as s books.data equal to yaml.saveload f, which loads the book. When container equal to book container, config is books data and books data. So this is the configuration that you're providing to this container. So here is where you'll have to use this keyword config equal to books data. Only then when you call the config from providers or configuration, when you get that same config. And then you create a factory object of each book. Book container.book provider, book.name, book.description, book.authors, and book.pages. This code defines a book class with an init method, takes 4 arguments. The book provider uses the data from the first book in the list to create a book instance. When you run this code, this will be the output in the YAML file. You can modify the code to create instances of the book class for each book in the YAML file as well by iterating over the book's data list and create a provider for each book. Watching updates to YAML. This part we'll be coming back to in the next video. Bye. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe and comment. Thank you.